everyone, my name is Toyin Kalio, and this is the Equity Boy Corner. In this place, we define standards, we challenge status quo, and we draw in goodness. And I'm here with an amazing man doing exploits in the boys' child, and his name is Dr. Patrick.
Thank you as you join us in this journey of Equity Boy redefinition of the boys. I mean, growing up, I recall how my father was a mentor to me, unrealized, unconscious. I could remember vividly how he would take me to the stream every morning about the cold water, and that brought a whole lot of personal awakening. And today I could count that my stability, my personal law, my devotion, and my consistency were all founded there. But I wish it was a more detailed, planned, designed life. I'm sure that I wouldn't have drifted. I would have consistently lived out of my heart rather from my head. And when I look at my detours in life and my disobedience to self and the inconsistency I've had, I realized it was just a life that was left to chance, not well detailed, documented, and defined. And so when I look at how our economy, when I look at our leadership, when I look about relationship, how random they are without a proper structured, defined life, you see that our outcomes are already shaped based on our foundation. Now, so historically, looking back at our leadership structure, you realize that it starts from how the boys are raised. Without responsibility, without accountability. So that instigated and inspired this project called the Boy Child Project. I'm excited about it. I'm deeply involved around it. I'm committed around it. I will spend the last couple to ensure that all the boys within this fold not only come into their true identity, which is really the major crux of manhood, when we do not know who we are and when we have not answered that question, who am I? And once you answer that question, you set the tone of your life. And so in this corner, we challenge status quo, we redefine standard, and we bring the boys to what we call the higher life. I didn't get to know about higher life until my personal studies and evolution. But you know, the truth about it is, it's either you're in a higher life or your lower life. Your character, your characteristics, your choices and decisions are funded whether you are in a lower life or higher life. And the good thing about it is, these boys, they know, and they know from their language, they know from their choices, they know from their disposition, just by interacting, they know whether you are in a higher life or lower life. Because there are attributes and characteristics that define that. When you're not accountable to yourself, you're in a lower life. When you use certain language that depicts whether you're in a higher life, when you complain, abuse, bully, you realize that you're in a lower life. So, but the distinction here is when you bring that mental clarity to the boys, who they are. But most importantly, I know that men live a default life, a random life. But here, they will tell you whether you're a designed life or a default life. A default life is societal scripts, how you think people should think about you. But from the outset, they already know they have to design their life, and that gives them the architect of the whole life. So sit down to design their life. Because here we teach them that you are the architect of your future. And now they are already writing their own script. So you cannot devalue them. Because honestly, not only they know their personal self, they begin to understand their assignment. So they're not thinking about what to get. They're thinking about what they offer. And so that already establishing their personal values. Now that personal value have been shaped by their personal vision. Because when a man is visionless, you find out that you have no compass, you have no strong influence that affect your perspective, that drive your thought, that drive your emotion, that drive your belief system. Of course, most of the aligned, non-aligned actions are because people do not have who they are, understand their assignment first, which is their responsibility, which is what we call purpose. And then that purpose shapes the vision, which is creating a path. And this path cannot be diluted by external forces because it's already been designed. Then of course, this vision helps them to regiment what they call their personal law that is funded by their personal core value. And that means they already know their negotiables and non-negotiables. Meaning that instrumental to their belief system. Because one of the greatest things that distort men is belief system. But when your belief system has been crafted by your higher self, you'll realize that what you call disappointment is a redefinition of going back to a deeper reflection into a truth that you have left, truth that who you are, that fall to your responsibility. So you see, in this journey, it's about designing intentionally, deliberately, carefully. And one of the things that will richly envelop them is the attention. Because when a man's attention is not well directed by who you are, by your assignment, by your vision, and by your values, you realize that you are already disrupted. And that's why men say they're under pressure. They're under pressure. You hear about midlife crisis. The root of midlife crisis is non-clarity from childhood. When you have not designed deliberately, intentionally, and so that when you are not intelligent, because with intentionality brings intelligence. So now, when you have designed, you can't have midlife crisis because you're on a path. Are they going to be detours? There are detours that will be defined as a place of refinement where you recover from those detours. It shapes directly and strengthens you, give you that mental resilience, give you mental toughness, and give you mental clarity. Of course, the quality of your mind determines the quality of your life. And so these boys have clinically designed life. That is not negatively right. One of the things that I love about the equitable child, it gives them what they call the neutral mind. You know how people say, I want to be positive. A positive person is rooted in who he is, because your thinking pattern will determine how the quality of your thinking pattern. As a man thinketh, so he is. So you think not from the wish, not from your desire, but from who you are. So we teach them to have a neutral mind. A neutral mind means that even what you call disappointment become an enrichment to let you to evaluate, to reflect about your choices and decisions, to be sure they align back to who you are, your assignment, your vision, your values. Now, I think the other thing we talked about them is what they call the drifters and the definers. When a man is a drifter, it means that he doesn't have an anchor. He doesn't have a center place of which it operates from, like from your value system, from your vision, and from your assignment, because it's already defined. And that helps you move over there. Now, the other thing we talked about, told them is that, hey, are you living from your head or living from your heart? Men are becoming more analytical. Men are becoming more comparing. Men are put under pressure, especially the peer pressure. But they are not under pressure. Because you know why? They are choosers. Choosers are aligners because they have their working truth. And this working truth really help to govern their emotion. I mean, people cannot have emotional regulators because they never have the power of choice. And these guys also know that they have choice, even a choiceless situation. Remarkably, the guy have asked, what if my father asked me to lie because he doesn't want to see somebody? Very remarkable. And part of what we'll tell them is that you need to first of all understand hierarchy and authority. You respect it, but yet you have the power to speak based on your truth. You can walk up to your dad and say, Daddy, what if I lie to you? What if I start lying to you because you're teaching me lies? Will you believe me? You see, that's why we're challenging status quo and redefining the standard of living, because the more you teach them how to lie, the more you internalize lying as a part of life. Now, because now you are transferring your insecurity, and when a man is insecure, it's as a result because you do not know who you are. And when you do not know who you are, you don't know how to say yes or no. And that's why it's important we continue to shape these children in truth and in value system, so that they become more unshakable in their decision and choices.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Please, I would love to ask a question.
Yes.
Okay. We're in a world where they tell men don't cry, boys don't cry, you have to suck it in. So I want to hear your thoughts about vulnerability when it comes to boys. You believe that boys should be more open about their emotions, how they feel, as in society or in their family background or sector. Yeah.
And that's why we're redefining some of those concepts. Those concepts are coming from weakness. Now, what we teach them is to be able to embrace their vulnerability and their sweetness. And you see, that's why I say they are on neutral mind. They utilize the downward, because in the paradox of life, you realize that you have down and you have up. You can't treat up and down. You have to treat them inclusively, because they have all their benefits. So here, speak up. When you want to cry, cry. Release the emotion. It doesn't make you weak. That's a false attitude, because now that puts you under pressure. And that's why men die on time than women. Because women are more expressive. You see them talk.
Yeah, true.
You see women talk, but men suppress it. And the more you suppress it, that means you're suppressing even your real self. And that's why men are more, you find out that they are pretenders. They borrowed identity. But here we tell them, hey, be who you are. Express it. Be assertive. Of course, be assertive means consider the other people, consider yourself as well too, and create such a balance.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Also, too, in the next 5 years, where should we be expecting the Equity Boys to be?
Part of what we're doing here is to set up an institution that not only put that framework, but it's also become a process part where men can also come from calibration. I mean, assuming you've lost yourself, bring you back to your childhood.
Yeah.
And that boyhood will redefine everything. And it will show a short place where you are recalibrated, rejuvenated, and recovered. And of course, we're also creating a community where these boys, if you look at them, some of them are already part of mentoring other people. And so the more you build this system, ecosystem, you're going to find out entrepreneurs, you're going to find out in networking, you're going to find out that they already have a community with which they can find their full expression. You're already building a strong friendship base as well too. Of course, even business partners as well, because they share the same values, the same concept, and the same beliefs as well too. So that unifies them in that hub.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us here. Thank you so much. And once again, this is the Equity Boy Corner. Do well to like, do well to subscribe, and do well to share, and also follow us on all our social media platforms that will be displayed on your screen. Thank you so much, and thanks for listening.